The Bill LeMay Show.
So I read in the paper the other day the Department of Agriculture has now decided that Wake County can go back to using the data on students who receive subsidized lunches. And they were using that, of course, in the past for this diversity busing. First off, what changed in the Department of Agriculture's opinion from, I think it was 2011 to now?
Well, there were some requests for revision and reconsideration. Our board and attorney, our new board obviously has an interest in going back in that direction, and so they pursued it, had our legal counsel seeking new opinions and working with the Department of Education and the Department of Agriculture to find some more favorable opinions to go back to that model. And one of the approaches they suggested was that we could do it if we did it in the aggregate, meaning not necessarily looking at every individual child's lunch money, but more so looking at a whole community, the nodes, so to speak. So they would say this node is a high poverty node, this node is a low or low poverty node, and then choose which nodes they want to bus for quota-based diversity goals to meet those nodes, those aggregates.
But if you
do it that way, if they want it, that sounds a little confusing, maybe.
Well, but if you can't determine who the individual is, how do you know you're actually taking care of the problem? You know what I'm saying? If you're doing it big,
my argument. Yeah, this was my argument before, Bill. We're too focused on the collective subgroup and not focused on the individual needs of the children. So, for example, there may be a node or a general community with 100 children in that community, and 51% of those kids may be on free and reduced lunch and struggling financially for a variety of reasons. But, one, there's 49% of those kids in that neighborhood who aren't in that way and don't necessarily need to be caught up in the busing for diversity scheme that these folks are creating. But two, in that 51% of the kids who are struggling financially, that doesn't mean they're necessarily struggling academically. Many of them are smart, some of our most gifted and talented children. So what we should be looking at is other approaches to support the needs of individual students, not the collective aggregate of selling the system as everything's all nice and perfect and no bad schools in Raleigh.
Now, unless, of course, their argument is by doing so, it's somehow cost effective in the sense that you have a school that now we've reduced it to 40% low, reduced lunch, and it's cheaper in some fashion. Because I guess originally, John, that's went way back in the day. That was originally why they started the whole plan to begin with. But are they still arguing that the individual benefits from this kind of diversity busing?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's still folks on the board now, and now unfortunately the majority of the board, who believe that's the way to go.
I appreciate what you do, John. Thank you.
Thanks, Bill. Have a great day, and thank you and your listeners.
You too. John Tedesco, Wake County School Board.
The Bill LeMay Show.